The impression the game you get out with what you put into it. It's like a walk of life. If you're good enough, go out and get it, no more about it.
But not so much control in the centre of the field from Kilkenny as Richie Bennett sends it high and over the bar.
Your mother sends you down to the shop for a pound's worth of goods and she gives you 50 pence. You can't get the pound's worth of goods, can you?
Just about kept in. Oh, well done, Shawnee Buckley. To do that to Tomas O'Shea, he deserves to score from here. One of the highlights of the Sunday game.
Limerick went out there from the word go today. No more about it. They made all the running, that was it. Put the ball over the bar and the back of it, and that's it. No ifs, no buts.
Is there much time left? We have a couple of injuries. Here comes Kieran Curry. Curry leading the charge of the right brigade. 45 metres out. There's a chance to score. He's put it high.
There's no sympathy in this game for anybody.
Hello, and you're very welcome to another episode of Treaty Talk. It is episode 315 with myself, Tom Clancy, and the Weekly Observer and Vale Star newspapers, Matt O'Callaghan. Matt, how's all? We're finally bubbling up for what we have been waiting for a long time for, which is the National League. So great to have it on our doorstep, and we've so much more to discuss as well across the other codes and some of the other grades as well in hurling. So plenty to get excited about this week.
Yeah, plenty to get excited. But before we start, Tom, I would like to congratulate you on your engagement.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I kept off the airwaves, but here we are now.
you kept it under wraps, but I made sure that you weren't going to keep it under wraps any longer. So congratulations on that, and the best of luck to yourself and Lisa going forward.
Well, thanks very much. Yeah. It's normally I'm normally at home, but I'm not in a different location today. But normally the dogs are chirping in on the podcast, but they've been missing out. For the last
we've no dogs today.
No, they're keeping silent. Like, you know, they were giving out long enough about the podcast, but anyway.
They were giving out when we started rambling, like, you know.
Yeah, that was it. Normally after about 5 or 6 minutes, though. So anyway,
yeah,
right. Well, thanks for that.
Are a very low tolerance of nonsense, you know.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, that's my news, Matt. It was my birthday last week, and now it's the engagement this week. So we're running out of congratulations.
What do you want to have next week, Tom?
I don't know. I'm not sure. You know. Maybe the 100th podcast or something, but I don't think I'm that far yet. Anyway, look, we're here.
Your opening remark there. Look, we are where we want to be with, you know, literally games coming out our ears. Like if you take 3 of the national leagues have started, you know, you've got the Alliance Hurling and Football leagues underway, and you've got the little ladies football league underway. You've got the Junior B competitions in both Killeedy and in Knockaderry, which has been held in Ballygrand. We've got those underway. We've got a bit of wrapping up to do, of course, in the schools. A few bits and pieces here and there. And, of course, we have the Sigerson and Fitzgibbon Cup, even though I suppose our interest in the Sigerson Cup ended the other night when UL bowed out to TU Dublin, you know. But it would not surprise me if by sometime around 10 o'clock tonight that the 3 Limerick teams will be still standing in the Fitzgibbon Cup.
Yeah.
We're assured that 2 of them are standing, and we're assured that the 2 Cork teams are standing. So
just filling in who's in between there as well. So the last 2, well, the last spot is up for grabs for
Midwest.
Yeah.
You know, so it would be very, very interesting if the 5 local colleges are in the last 4, are in the last 6.
You're calling Cork local now, Matt, you are?
Well, it's local to me here, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, Sporting Limerick.
Very local.
I know you're very biased, but anyway, look, the 2 Limerick teams will come to that, I'm sure, in due course, and indeed we might touch on it with our guests, who I'll bring in right now, and that's of course former Limerick goalkeeper Barry Hennessy. Barry, how's life with yourself?
Good, Tom, good. I hope the sound is okay. I'm sitting inside in the canteen here in the office, literally sitting into a corner here, like, so.
Right.
So yeah, hopefully that's good. Congratulations.
Great, Barry. How are you?
I'm good, Matt, and yourself?
Good. Struggling with Tom, you know.
Well, it's going to come in trees. Yeah, I just listening to you there, Matt. I said it's going to come in trees for him, so there'll definitely be news next week. So he's got 2. So
I don't know, as long as it's maybe Limerick beating Cork, and
Yeah,
we'll take it.
That
That'll be enough for me now next for the next podcast. But anyway, yeah, as I said, we're here to discuss National League and I suppose any other matters from hurling at present. Of course, it all got underway last weekend, as we know, and Limerick were the odd team in the 7 and have to wait for their bow this weekend. So crowd of up to, well, maybe up to and above 30,000 expected at Páirc Uí Chaoimh for this one, a league game, maybe unlike any other in terms of expectations for crowds and everything. It's been a long while since we saw such crowd at an opening round of a league game for Limerick. Barry, a big opportunity for John to cast the net in terms of give guys their not debuts by any means, but give them a chance in such an environment. We saw last year the ferociousness of the Cork supporters in that championship game, and while it of course won't be quite the championship feel to it, there'll certainly be plenty to learn and plenty to take out of this game on Saturday evening for John and co.
Definitely, Tom. I suppose the first round of the league, and even anytime you go to Páirc Uí Chaoimh, there's like that little bit of magic in the air. It's like it's a fabulous venue. And I think John said it recently this week in the press that they love going down there, because it's a fabulous place to play a game. I think if you look at the kind of the narrative that's around the Limerick squad at the moment, across national media, people are kind of saying John is a bit more ruthless this year, and kind of unsettle a settled team to an extent. But from what you're seeing from the outside already in the games that have been played, I think he's probably managing the squad very, very well. There's still a few lads that still have to come back into it in terms of the senior players, and he's given youth his chances as well in all the challenge games recently, and there's some very exciting prospects there. So I've no doubt he'll probably do what he's normally done over the last few years and not set lads up for new lads, especially and younger lads, up for failure really by just throwing them all in one go, or maybe loading the squad with a slightly more inexperienced team. He'll put in his steady heads in strategic positions, I would presume, and then throw the newer lads in around them, just so that they have an opportunity to play in a stronger team than just throwing 15 new lads into it, and as I said, setting them up for a bit of a fall and a confidence knock.
Yeah, that's been a very tried and trusted, I think, technique for Limerick in the last maybe 6-7 seasons. Even when they were, defending league champions, there was always at least one experienced player in every line of the field, and it certainly seems to work quite well. And they picked up some good results down the years, even when you might have said there were 6 or 7 rookies or maybe less experienced players in it. So it does seem to work, and it's a point well made. One position though that maybe you can't have too much experience in is the one you played in yourself, of course, in goals. Obviously, Shane Dowling is now back in the panel. He's very experienced in terms of playing in league and championship games for Limerick. When I suppose not long before he retired, he was a record scorer for Limerick in championship. Aaron Gillan has since surpassed that, but a new role for him in recent years with his club. So he's now been put on the panel with Conor Hanley-Clark of your own club, who's involved there as an option as well, and obviously Jason Gillan, who's back on the panel last year. So none of them really experienced at this level playing in goals at inter-county level, at senior level, of course. So a real opportunity for one of the three of those or any of them to put their hand up. It's very intriguing. It's going to be a big talking point, I'm sure, from Saturday onwards, as who's going to grab that number one and maybe hold on to it for the foreseeable.
Jeez, Tom, my phone was on anyway, and I was waiting for the call. The next minute, Conor Hanley-Clark got the call, and he said, "Jeez, John is trying to retire me altogether." So from Club Ben County, but no, there's only dressing there. It's strange, I suppose, really, when you don't see Nicky Quaid as number one at the weekend. His longevity has been phenomenal, and I suppose it'll be the first time when people look at the program and go, maybe it doesn't look right, but it's a great opportunity for either of the three lads. Whoever, I would presume that Jason will get the nod. Not knowing any inside information or anything, but I would presume that Jason will get the nod, being that he's probably the guy that's been there the longest on that, and he's in form too. He's been playing well in the challenge games, and I think you could see during the club campaign with Patrick as well, like that he's a solid goalkeeper. He's a very good goalkeeper with a very bright future there. So having worked closely with him the couple of years he was on the panel, you could see that the potential was there for this guy to be the successor, and the long-term successor, because he has everything in terms of skill set, ball strike, and as you said already, the inexperienced part of it might be the question mark that may be over him and over the three lads in general. But in terms of Jason anyway. He has everything that, if it is him, that's going to be the guy going forward until Nicky's return. And even past that, he could be the guy that will finally pose a challenge to Nicky too. But then with the other two lads, like Connor has played, obviously, with the Limerick 20s, has played in the biggest stage with them. He's played with Fitzgibbon Cup. And then purposely leaving Shane then to last. Like, Shane has reinvented himself, obviously, as a goalkeeper as well. And there would have been a few running jokes there over the years where we thought that's where he was going to finish up anyway. And lo and behold, here he is. He's inside there. So, but yeah, you look at Shane there, Tom and Matt. Like, he's the guy that's played at the highest level. He's played on the biggest stage. He's come up trumps for Limerick on the biggest stage as well. So you could see why John. I know there was a lot of questions around the public of why Shane was being brought in. But you can't look past the fact that he has performed on the biggest stage for Limerick. He's delivered on the biggest stage, and like, what the question mark over the other two lads is probably the inexperience, where Shane has that experience too. Like, so that's invaluable to young goalkeepers, especially, you know, where it's a position where temperament is everything. So just having a guy that has done it and has experience there, just to have a quiet word every so often, you know. And I'm sure Nicky's floating in the background there. I've seen on the team list for the weekend that he was rehabbing with the other players. So you could be sure that Nicky's offering his 2 cents in that as well. So it's an inexperienced goalkeeping room, but then on the other side of it then as well, like with Nicky and Shawnee, you know, there is a lot of experience there. So I wouldn't worry one bit about him, to be honest.
Yeah, Matt.
Barry, how much do you think the fact that there was no, we'll say, organised pre-season this year, how will that feed into the overall preparations?
Do you know what, Matt? I think Limerick they're really good at, and John surrounds himself with phenomenal people that are experts in their field, be it coaching, be it S&C, sports psychologists, whatever it is. Like, he's very good at surrounding himself with great people, and obviously he's a great leader himself. And I think they have a method that works best for them, be it whether they get to a final, a semi-final, whether they're on holidays later in the year or whatever it is. They've kind of found what works for them. Sometimes the pre-season competitions, not that they're an inconvenience in a way, but if you're trying to get a bit of work done beforehand, or you're carrying a lot of injuries, like there's times there where teams might have only 20 players available to them, with Fitzgibbon Cup and everything that's on as well. So I'm sure that while competitive games weren't available to them, they still got a nice block of training done, and it just puts you in a good position coming into the league, because I know the lads probably didn't go back hurling until the first week of January. And not having to worry about a game that you can get maybe 3 weeks of actual prep work done for your first league game, and you're probably a little bit more prepared in terms of, say, set pieces or tactics or whatever it is. So what could be a perceived disadvantage could probably work to Limerick's favour and other teams' favours too.
Barry, we've held John Kiley over the years, irrespective of winning the Munster Senior League or winning even the National League. Like, he insists that the one target he sets out at the start of the year is the first round of the championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, do you know what, Matt? I think big thing for John when he came into it was the importance of just winning in general. And it was probably an inconsistency that Limerick had for a long time, where, you know, there was peaks and troughs, and you would get a bad result, and next minute there'd be a lot of emotion there, and you get a result, and then next minute you trough again, and, you know, so there was kind of no consistency there. And I think, in fairness to John, just being the guy that he is, John's a winner, and he just the value of and the importance of winning consistently and trying to win as much as possible, and not taking that for granted, and basically not taking for granted anytime you put on the Limerick jersey. So I know that some results over the years mightn't have been where they're at, and there might have been a couple of league campaigns there where you're scratching your head going, Jesus, remember we were going up to Offaly and we needed a result to stay in Division 1, you know. But the belief never faltered on that, and it was just he talked about incremental improvements. I think that's his Joe Smith phrase that Joe used to use. The process John uses incremental improvements, you know. And I think for him, winning is important, but he wants to see the progression from the new lads in particular, week on week, to see, right, are these guys getting better? And then if they're not, obviously he's to make a call on it. But, you know, he's very shrewd that way, that he knows that he's looking for progress, and that's what's important to him.
Yeah, the league, and I remember being in Westmeath last year where he was asked about Donegal O'Donnell, who's someone who used the league very well last year to, I suppose, develop his inter-county career. But John kind of said about I think Donegal and a number of younger lads that it is a marathon playing inter-county hurling, and it you can't just come on at full pelt and expect to be to be out in front. I mean, it was a case of, he was saying, I think he said Donegal was at mile 8 or mile 7. He was very early in the run, and I still had a lot to do and a lot to learn, and it's probably a good way of looking at it, that he doesn't throw guys into sink or swim, that guys will go in even if it's only for 15 minutes, for example, on Saturday evening, or maybe start the game and play half or play 40 minutes. He doesn't ever, I suppose, overindulge fellas in terms of trying to bite off more than they're capable of chewing. I think that's been the approach, and it seems to have worked. But the league, the way it's set up this year, 6 games against, I suppose, perceived to be probably closest to the 6 best other counties in the thing. There's going to be no real easy cannon fodder game against, we've seen previously maybe the likes of Antrim or Offaly. I think even Antrim last year, there was the opening game. It was, you'd have had tougher training sessions. There's probably still a target on Limerick's back from other counties, and there should be good intensity to these games. And I think Cork, we were speaking about Fitzgibbon there, I suppose making sure they have a full deck available to them Saturday evening. I think Pat Ryan is probably targeting to see can Cork throw a bit more momentum into things. They've beaten Limerick the last 2 occasions, as we know, last season, and Cork are trying to get onto that crest of a wave that maybe Limerick got onto a few years ago. So it's, this league will be interesting from that point of view. I don't think there's going to be too many light games, Barry, in this championship, or in the league, sorry, I should say. Yeah,
definitely. And as you said there, like Cork are going for the three-peat, as they call it. And we mentioned already, like the emotion, I suppose, that came out in Páirc Uí Chaoimh last year after the first round of the league game, or whatever round it was in the league when they beat them below. But it'll be interesting. There's probably still is that little bit of a target in the back, because again, like, not that the John or the Limerick has to be listening too much to outside noise, but like the narrative is there of this sting that's going to be in Limerick's tail for the way things had finished up last year. And I was just chatting to people during the week, and they were saying, where Limerick fixed for the year, and I was just kindly reminding people that last time they were beaten in a semi-final, we saw what happened. So they were saying, well, do you think it's going to happen again? I said, like, it's there from if they want to do it, like, but like, it's very competitive, Tom. There's a puck of a ball between the top teams on any given day, and it just depends really how it's swinging, how momentum is going, And I said it last year, like, the healthiest squad, be it across the league or the championship, like, that's who you're backing, like, is trying to keep lads as healthy as possible. So, like, it's going to be very attritional over the next few weeks, and then you're coming into a Munster campaign that's even more attritional again, where there's going to be casualties. So it's just trying to rotate players and keep lads healthy. That's going to count for a lot.
Yeah, it's probably a big year for a number of players, young and old. And look, some people are probably thinking Limerick need to rip up the script. I don't think they do. They were not a million miles away last year from going the whole way again. Obviously, only beaten by a score by Cork in an All-Ireland semi-final. So it's not like they fell off a cliff face. It is a big year, though, we feel, for the likes of Shane O'Brien, your fellow Kilmallock club man, Adam English, maybe Aidan O'Connor, these guys who are starting to kind of, knock on that door of getting into the team. Or the three of them, I think, came on as subs in that semi-final. Maybe those guys are going to say, well, can I get a starting jersey a bit more permanently this year? And the league will be a big stepping stone for them. And there's probably other guys then who, maybe didn't have the greatest 2024, who will be wanting to say, right, my jersey is probably, it's probably been offered to someone else, and can they hold on to it? There is going to be good competitiveness within the squad, and I think maybe Saturday night we'll start to see the first signs of change in terms of personnel. And obviously, we should mention that, of course, Graham, of course, is retired, so there's already a vacancy there in terms of the role that he played. But then Richie English as well was another one who was, always in the 26 when it came to the business end of things. So, like, there's going to be a fierce competitiveness in this squad in terms of who's going to get in and who wants to get in, really, of course, as well.
Yeah, and like you mentioned it there previously, Tom. Like, I think John, especially with the younger lads, like, you come in and you serve your apprenticeship, even if you are a generational talent at your age group, you do serve that little bit of an apprenticeship. And you look at the likes of Cahill there, that like Cahill had to sit and wait for a very, very long time before he got his opportunity. And it's nearly humbling in one way, because you're the guy at your own age group that you're expected, that did it all for that age group, and then you come in and you're having to bide your time, and you have to basically earn it. There's no more Limerick jerseys handed out for reputation or name or what you can do with your own age group. You literally have to go in, you have to work hard for it. And in fairness to the management team, they've been incredibly consistent with that, and whoever is performing is playing. And it doesn't matter if you're year 2 in the panel or year 5 in the panel. But for those younger lads, if you go back to the game last year against Cork, if you look at the last probably 4 shots that Limerick took, 3 of those guys took them. Now, granted, they probably went to the wrong side of the post, but it just shows you that even at that age and the inexperience those guys had at that level, they were still confident to take on that shot. I would have been more worried if they didn't, and they made a fumble or made a mistake trying to pass.
Well, they would have been empowered and trusted, I'm sure, by the management.
Yeah,
they were sent on to try and, I suppose, rescue the situation. They weren't sent on to send a 5-yard hand pass. They were sent on to try and do what they were brought into the panel to do. Those 3 attacking players we mentioned were, So it is good to see that they were trusted on the biggest day in Limerick's recent history, really. And I suppose it's up to them now to open the door for more openings for themselves.
Definitely. And you look at Aidan O'Connor there, even just the name drop to one of them, I suppose his development over the last couple of years, and even seeing him in the Fitzgibbon there recently and seeing him during the year with the club when we played him, he's a guy with a very, very bright future. Adam English as well. Adam is electric, and it's just going to be a case of Adam's going to arrive on the scene, and then it's going to be how long is Adam on the scene, and after that, he'll stay for him as long as he wants. That's similar to Shawnee Finn. We laugh at Shawnee, Shawnee will be an answer for as long as Shawnee wants to be. So he's that caliber of a player. So there's 2 very exciting prospects, and you get Cahill back fit and healthy as well. And now you're looking across the 6 forwards, kind of saying to yourself, you still have Peter Casey to come into this, Seamus Flanagan, Garrod, Thomas yet to come back into the country even, let alone back into the squad, So
Aaron Gillan, of course, as well.
Yeah, Aaron, for Limerick to, people thought that the tombstone might be written now, but when you put it like that, it's frightening what's still there to their disposal.
Yeah. Matt?
Barry, the fact that there's a change of captaincy from Declan Hannon to Cian Lynch. Now, I know it was seamless last year, but it's official this year. Does it suggest that Declan Hannon may be used sparingly this year? If it be the case, who's likely to fill the number 6 spot?
I don't know, Matt. To be honest, I think it's kind of something that people are probably looking a little bit too much into. Because, going back to when we made the point there about the younger lads and John minding them, etc. I suppose Declan didn't have that opportunity when he was that age. He was thrown straight into the fire of it, really. So people kind of always say, "Jesus, Declan's only 31," and they're like, "He's around a long time," and he is, because he started so young. Declan still has so much to offer, and I think. From myself looking at it and looking in, and from being involved, I suppose, in management at the moment, there was probably an opportunity there to just press the reset button across the backroom team, the squad. And it was probably a time when John said, look, it's a good opportunity now to give Declan a break from it too, really, because there's a lot that comes with the I won't call it a burden, it's a great honour, and Declan would say the same thing, that it's an honour, but there is a lot that comes with that side of it as well. And being the most successful captain in history, I presume, at this stage.
Absolutely,
I'll have to fact check that, but that carries a lot too, and it might be an opportunity for Declan to just take a breather from that side of things and just focus on Declan, because without retiring him, he's probably looking at it now saying, right, have I a couple of years left at this at the highest level before he goes back to there and plays a couple of years there. So it could be an opportunity for him to just work on himself now and work on his hurling and reignite things there for himself. And I still see him contributing massively to it. And even if he's not, I would see him playing Matt still on the biggest day. I don't think there's any question there about him or any doubts or anything. If it is a case where he does step aside in games or he's not playing in games, like you look at Kyle, you look at Barry Nash, like I always said that Barry would have been a phenomenal 6. Just for his attacking alone, he's a different player to Declan.
William O'Donoghue, of course, as we know, has filled in that role as well.
Darragh O'Donovan, any of them can sit in there. It's they have Cahill even could sit inside there. It's kind of what's at your disposal there at the moment. It's not embarrassing as such, but I'd still be confident that Declan will be there come Munster Championship, because he's just with a new goalkeepers there as well, and you're going to need that level head there.
But I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that Declan Hannon should retire. I think he's
Go ahead, Matt, to retire him.
Declan Hannon is absolutely simply phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we just saw about his versatility last year, Barry, in the Limerick Championship. You know, when Adair were in trouble, they moved him up in the forwards. He
started up there, and he started there, I suppose, Mac, in his earlier career, like, you know, even with Arsenal there, when Harty Cups himself and Shane, I remember he used to flip-flop. Shane would have been centre forward and Declan was centre back, and then they'd flip-flop it around in the second half. Niall Moore in masterclass, he used to call it. Niall used to take great credit in that, but we can't give Niall any more big kids than he already has. So.
It's impossible to contemplate, like, first of all, it is impossible to contemplate Limerick without Nicky Quaid, and it's the same. Declan Hannon is up there well, but you know, I saw a lot of the pundits attributing Cork's victory last year to the fact that they kept the ball as far away as possible from Kyle Hayes on down his wing.
Yeah,
which was true, of course. And I would suggest that if Declan Hannon isn't available, that were Kyle to be centre back.
Yeah, hard to keep the ball away from that channel, wouldn't it?
The same trick wouldn't come off, you know.
No, and look, Cork, you look back at that day, Matt, Cork were very cute, I suppose, in moving, where they moved Declan Dalton and Seamus Harnedy. Like, they moved him from, obviously, Kyle's side back over to Diarma's side, and Diarma had two loaded on his side most of the time, you know, and, like, in fairness, it worked, because Limerick were obviously trying to stay his own and not get caught with massive holes all over the place, and they saw something, they exploited it, and it probably worked. And it's very hard to defend it then as well, like, if you are trying to mind spots and mind holes around the place. So it'll be interesting to see, Mac, because you've Diarma Burns, you've another hurler of the year sitting on the other side of it then as well. So it's and then you look at the bench and what they have there as well. There's a couple of exciting young prospects there that probably just aren't ready at this stage. So you're probably still going to look at the likes of Diarma, of Kyle, Declan, as you said, William, Colin Coughlin even. You know, you'll probably be looking at those guys first, and then you're looking at the Ian Hurleys, the Vince Harringtons, those guys then after that, the Fergal O'Connors, Keane Scully as well, yeah. So those guys are probably, they'll be there, not discrediting them at all, they'll be there. I just think it's probably a little bit soon for them. They just have to kind of get in now and do that apprenticeship and buy into what's involved in it. But I've no doubt when those guys develop, there's some of them there that they're frightening. I see with Shane O'Brien, just the level that these younger lads are at now coming into senior setups. They're men already. They're men as young adults. Like,
yeah, you look back at the contribution that these people that are on the fringe made to their clubs last year, and I'm talking about even the like of Darragh Langan, you know, and Aidan O'Connor. I thought had a very, very good county championship last year. Of course, you know, Adam English was just off the charts. You know, Shane O'Brien was off the charts. So, like, you wonder how long more they have to buy their time. Keane Scully was excellent in the championship, as was Ethan Hurley, you know. And there would be times past when we remember, I suppose, it's a statement of where we're at now. When you'd see these fellas in the county championship, you'd say they'd be fast-tracked straight into the first 15 for Limerick. But as you say, there's a pathway there now which has to be tread to get there.
Yeah, and it's just, Matt, is making sure it's sustained, I suppose, really. Like, in fairness to Johnny, he's very aware of that. Like, there has to be a sustainability piece to too. Like, that John is very much focused on, like the All Blacks, I suppose, leaving things in a better place. Like, and that you can't just come in. Like, you see it in the club scene where guys come in, they know they're under pressure for maybe a year or two. They'll go hammer and tongs at it, and then all of a sudden the club might be left in the gutter for a couple of years after it because it's just emotionally has ran its course, maybe, or you know, lads are burnt out from it or whatever. But there's very much a sustainability piece there where, like, lads are given a taste of it. I look at the likes of Paddy O'Loughlin, my own club man, even at that time, like, Paddy came into the squad, he was given a taste. His first year wasn't seen again for the rest of the year, and then the next year again got a little bit more again, you know, a little bit more game time, a little bit more trust. Colin Coughlin was the same. His first year on the panel was put on an All-Ireland semi-final. I think it was his first game that he played, you know, so it just shows you, like, John, just give him a chance there, give him a little taste of it. Those lads then are coming back and they're chomping at the bit. So, like, I won't be surprised if you see those younger lads that have been performing in the club championship that they're given that taste of it per se, and then they're just withdrawn back a little bit now and come back and just work hard. I think John always says it, just work hard and just earn your stripes, and then, you know, if you're working hard and you're seen to be working hard, you'll get your opportunity then.
Yeah, I was reading quotes in the Examiner from John Kelly. I think they were from before Christmas. They were rehashed this week, but he kind of mentioned the backroom team, and he didn't. I used the phrase earlier, cliff face. I think he doesn't want that to happen. Where if he or the rest of the management team decide at the end of 2025, 26, 27, they decided they were going to finish up, that there would be a huge change. And you're kind of touching on it there with clubs where they might have a 6 or 7 personnel management team one year and then none of them there the next year. There's no continuity. So he's shuffled the pack. There's fresh voice there. Liam Cronin is one of them. There's new S&C, and it's probably no harm, that I suppose that's not that Limerick were ever roaring and shouting about trying to win 5 in a row, but that story comes to its end, and there's a bit of a shuffle. There's a couple of retirements, there's a couple of changes on the panel, and no harm then that the backroom team kind of changes. Don O'Grady has obviously moved back to the minor management, so it's no harm again that there's just a rejuvenation there off the field as well, because a fresh voice can do no harm in a group that is together so much for basically from Christmas till whenever they finish up in June or July. I think it's a wise move from John and Co to just rejuvenate the thing.
Massive, Tom. And one thing I'll say is they're like even getting Liam Cronin. So when I had my name in for the Kerry job this year, like Liam was coming down with me as my coach, and I can't speak more highly of Liam. Like works with him very close with Arts Clarish, and it's a massive coup for him, because you've got a guy that thinks like Paul Kinnerk and has the ability to coach like Paul Kinnerk, and he's at that level. And like I can't speak enough for Liam, and he's just his caliber as a person first and foremost, and that's very important to the whole thing as well. Like Liam is a genuine nice guy that genuinely cares about guys as well. It's not just looking at guys as pieces of meat for him to build his coaching CV. He's a genuine guy that will take a lot of, I suppose, pride and care in these guys. But then from the coaching aspect of it, like his attention to detail, he's phenomenal. And then you throw Barry into the mix. John Flavin is back in again with John, who would have been very close with John. So he's got very, very good guys inside there. And then you look at the guys that have left in as well, like Angus, phenomenal guy, phenomenal coach. Like, Alan Cunningham's still there. Dodge has gone back to the minors. And that might be a pathway for Dodge in time to graduate up, that if John ever does leave, that he's got his experience of it now, and going back to the minors. Evan Loftus is with the 20s. So there seems to be that sustainability plan nearly, that if John does decide to leave, if and when he does decide to leave, that there's going to be guys that have had that exposure at the top level and had their own chance then at a level back from that as well. So it's in fairness to them, they've done really, really well.
Yeah, a new S&C as well, of course. Shane O'Brien, I'd say, is probably saying, "Oh God, I can never get away from this fella." Obviously, his old father involved in. So he's very, very experienced. He's involved with club teams. He's involved with Clare. So the Limerick footballers, and I think anyone that watched the Limerick footballers, as myself and Matt did, we saw what the job he did with them in terms of physicality and bringing their conditioning on, and was one of the key pieces from getting the footballers from Division 4 up to Division 2, which is a sensational achievement. So he's going to bring something fresh as well. And I think one of the players told me before, he's a little bit alternative. He was focusing on
a little bit different,
juggling drills, I think was one thing. Was maybe that was a lockdown thing, but there's little different, just to keep maybe even the older, more senior players, just to keep them fresh and keep them thinking and trying to squeeze that extra couple of % out of them during the year. So no harm there to have the Kilmallock man in as well.
Definitely, I'd say poor old Shane, when Adrian was with Clare, at least he didn't have to talk to him. So now he's probably sharing the car with him into training and can't get away from his head. But yeah, look, Adrian is top class. He's top class, to be fair to him. He's worked his way to get to this level now and thoroughly deserves it. And he's probably a little bit alternative in terms of traditional S&C methods. But again, when you talk about a guy that, like, the player is secondary to Adrian, the person is first, and even that's indicative to the rest of the management team and to John, like, where the person is always first and the player second. So making sure that person is solid first, and looking after that part of it. And Adrian is very much focused on that. Like, that you can hear some of his podcasts. Even he's very he's adamant on, like, this is a choice that lads make to participate in and give up their lives for. So it has to be enjoyable and it can't be regimental and monotonous. And like, he's very much aware that the person does come first in that. So it'll be an interesting change, but it's a very important role, Tom, because if you look at the contact times that lads spend with management or people in the backroom team, it's your S&C, it's your physio, it's your kitman, and like even like the likes of Lewis and Joe O'Connell, it's like that's something that people are glossing over because he was only the kitman, but like what Joe contributed to the thing for as many years as he did, and for such a nice guy, he played such a pivotal part in it. And I think a special shout out has to go to Ger for what he's done for Limerick, because first man I was there, you know, the cold nights, he'd tea and coffee set up for you. He literally gave me his jumper off his back there one evening, and it was raining so much and I was shivering inside the goals, and he came up with his jumper for me, you know. So like the man of the heart to goals. So it's important to have someone good there as well, and I think they do. I think they got one of the guys from the peer sheet that's involved them from that side of it. But
that's right. Name escapes me, Matt. You might have it there, but yeah, Barry O'Regan. That's it. Sorry, yeah.
So those guys are so important to like having characters first and foremost there, but having just good people that are well able to speak and interact and engage with the players. Those three positions are vital, and like they've got three good people there, and like Adrian has said, he's top class, so there'll be no fear of him.
Yeah.
Tom, I'd like to agree there about Ger O'Connell, and I would like to wish him. He reached the big 6-0 last week, as you probably heard. But Ger is a member of Quads. Like he's one of the Quads that were famously born in 1965 that hit world headlines actually, and the four of them, thank goodness, were in the Woodlands on Saturday night to celebrate the 60th birthday. So the best wishes to Ger, and he did an absolutely phenomenal job for 17 years. Tom, I think you got a sense of it when you interviewed him, and I know I'm digressing from the game on Saturday night now, but we have to mention it, the contribution. And Barry, thanks for bringing it up. It has been absolutely, his contribution has been phenomenal.
Sure has, yeah. And Barry, I was wondering, he said someone who owed him a jumper. It must be you. You'll never go back to him. I know. But no, it is a very important role. I think people probably don't realise that even in club teams and in at any level, it's so important that someone is there. And I suppose he's a bit of an agony aunt as well, because if you're coming in from work and you're not in the greatest of form, the first man you probably meet is going to be someone like Ger. So he might help take a load off before heading out to the pitch. So, and obviously a very, very important cog in the wheel. So I think John, we met John Kiley, Matt, not long after Ger had retired, and he was so complimentary of his service, and it was truly sincere about it as well. And so we wish him well in retirement. In fairness, I met him early in January when you played Limerick in a challenge, and he was one of the first people there. So he's the other side of the fence.
He's going nowhere. He's
going nowhere. Yeah, exactly. He'll be in the stands now, roaring, shouting like so many others. So all the best to him. Barry, I'm conscious of the time. It's moving on. We've plenty of other items to discuss. You're dipping your toe into management, but also
sorry, Tom, before you go to that, I just wanted to put one thing to Barry, because he mentioned something there about the league going straight into the championship, Barry. Now the league has been tweaked this year, and I don't know how they ever came up with 7, but they did anyway. But like there has been a lot of criticism over the last couple of years, and we've seen Waterford falling foul of an immediate turnover from the league into the championship. We've seen Mayo footballers suffer the same fate. Like, what do you think of the league format? I think if we had 8 teams with 2 groups of 4 and have semi-finals and finals and have a bit greater gap between the league and the championship.
Yeah, like I think, Matt, there, without being, I suppose, hypercritical of the hierarchy that is in the GA, like it annoys me in one way when the focus is on football and they're trying to change everything that's happening in football to make it, I suppose, more appealing, just not to beat around the bush about it. And then they start tweaking with the hurling side of things, and I think they've something really good with the hurling, and it just needs to be left alone. I know there's things with the hand pass and there's things with the sliotar, but like I heard an interview there with Tony Kelly recently about the sliotar and how they just keep messing around with it. And I actually mentioned it on my own X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it a couple of years ago. Look at free takers and goalkeepers; they're the first 2 to watch with the new sliotars. And I remember the first night watching Nicky hit the ball, like you could see that there was obviously a massive difference, because for men that never left the ball short, John, there was a few that were dropping short. So they have a tendency to mess with things, Matt, like that. And like the new format there now, like you already have such, especially for Munster, whatever about Leinster and the narrative that's around the Leinster competition being a little bit weaker, but Munster is literally, it's a bear pit. And whether you get out first or third, it's just get out of Munster. And like winning it is obviously, it's a great honour, but it's just getting out of Munster is the most important thing. And every game, you saw it last year with Limerick, and you saw it even the year before, like every game that Limerick play Munster, it's an All-Ireland final. The intensity that teams bring to play Limerick, it's like playing an All-Ireland final literally week after week after week. and like that does take its toll. And you've obviously seen it over the years where lads have dropped off. So I don't think that they've taken that into account. Like 7 teams, 6 games, it's a lot to ask, especially when they're going to be hard games. You know, I can't see too many teams now when there hasn't been a primary competition at the start of the year that are going to mess around with squad rotation as such per se, unless they know that they're safe on that side of it. And maybe teams are just going to do that just to say, right, we'll just play from middle of the table, maybe know we're safe, and then we could experiment a little bit. But it might take away from the league. I don't know. We'll probably have to look at the first cycle of it really to see what. But it's a tall ask for lads to play maybe 6, 7, 8 games and then run into a Munster Championship campaign in particular, where that's going to be just helter-skelter is one of John's words, so we'll use helter-skelter as it. So we'll see, Matt, we'll see. But as I said, my original point at the start, it's the healthiest squad will tell a lot across the Championship this year. And if lads are picking up maybe hamstring injuries early in, or later in the league, you're under pressure then straight away for Championship.
Yeah. Well, what I say about it, another flaw with it is like the number of rematches you have in the league and Championship. And we'll say you have Limerick and Cork next Saturday night, then they have to play Clare, they have to play Tipperary, all of who they'll be meeting in the Munster Championship within a matter of weeks.
Yeah, the phony wars, Matt, will be back. So the newspaper will
be... They'll be there from the start, I think, you know.
Yeah, the phony wars are back.
Yeah, well, we already saw Galway, you know, I suppose really didn't have any match for Tipperary last weekend. And, you know, I don't think there's no guarantee those two will meet later in the thing. But, I mean, again, teams are looking at this way differently from different points of view. Tipperary seem to be flying. Galway seem to be just having a look at lads. So it's, you know, it's an interesting dynamic. The thing that frustrates me about the league is they've changed it so many times. We go back to the time Limerick 1 was in the Call Division 2 at the time. And then they decided, actually, no, we're changing this. And I'd say there must have been 6 or 7 iterations of the league since. They've yet to settle on a set format. And the football league, it works because they've, for I don't know how long, a decade or more now, they've had regimented four groups of 8. And we know, you know the story at the start of the year. You know that your team are in Division 3 or Division 2, and you need, you know, you want to go up, or you know, or just sustain yourself. The hurling thing, every year you're saying, oh, well, is it a straight final? Even this year it is a straight final. There's 2, the bottom 2 go down, 7th and 6th go down, 1 and 2 play in the final. Last year we'd semi-finals with different, you know, from different groups and all this. It's just, it can mess with the public's head and kind of disengage people who may be the floating voter. And look, they're the people that we want to convert to watching these games to bring up attendances and all that. But if they don't really, if it's not obvious to them what's going on, it can really detract from the attraction of it, I think, you know.
Yeah, but the argument about, you know, getting rid of the whipping boys, and this is no disrespect to Antrim or disrespect to Westmeath, who were in it, or indeed disrespect to Offaly. But like, as to set up at the moment, you have Waterford and Dublin outside of the top flight. You know, one of those should be able to fit seamlessly into making an 8. And in my view, if you're to solve the conundrum of the league running almost straight into the Championship, 2 groups of 4, semi-final and a final.
Yeah, we'll give the winners 5 games, maybe across, we're going to say maybe 8 weeks, and we'll give them a break.
Win it out, yeah,
that's it. The finalists will get 5 games. Yeah, no, there's merit in that. Anyway, I'm conscious the clock is running against us here. Barry, just going to mention your coaching bits and pieces, getting stuck into it. How are you enjoying that journey so far? I'm sure you've learned plenty down the years with club and county, and you're trying to, I suppose, put your own little spin on it and try and develop your own ideas as well.
Definitely, Tom. Yeah, it's been interesting. It was something that kind of fell into my lap. I always planned to kind of go into it from that side of it. When I finished up, and it probably fell into my lap when I did finish up, and got an opportunity to head down to Kerry for a couple of years there, and just dip my toe on it. And what I'll say is, you think you know what's involved. You think you were busy when you were a player. When you're at the other side of it, it's 28, 29, 30 hours a week. If that's if you're trying to do it obviously to a high standard. And from watching, I was very lucky to have the exposure from John and Paul and the lads. So you obviously want to try and bring that standard with you wherever you go, and just make that the basic standard. But it's been thoroughly enjoyable, and I suppose for myself, I always thought I wanted to coach, but then I got a taste of the management side of it, and I actually enjoyed the management side of it more, and kind of creating that culture and watching lads develop, you know, and bring them through, and just see things come into fruition, really. But then, like the coach side of it, you do still like to be a little bit hands-on when you need to be. So it's been great. As I said, I got an opportunity to throw my name into the Kerry job there earlier in the year, and it was close enough to it in the end. So it was, it's nice to see that people might think that you're doing a good job, and it might open up further opportunities down the line. And it's exciting, and it's something I look forward to doing. And whether it's contributing back with Kilmallock or contributing to Limerick, whatever it is, it's something that's on the radar going forward anyway.
Right, so I'll keep the phone on. I'm sure there'll be people looking for your services in time. We might see you on the sidelines around the county. You never know in the next couple of years.
I don't know about that now, Tom. There's people telling me I can't pick my nose, let alone the teams. But so we'll see.
Oh yeah, just blame it on your selectors.
South Limerick, Barry.
We'll see, Matt. We'll see.
All in good time.
Yeah, we'll see. So my back isn't great, so we'll see. It might happen sooner or later, I think.
Okay, well, Barry Hennessy, thanks very much for joining us, and enjoy the league as a spectator, the same as ourselves, and hopefully a successful year ahead for Limerick. Thanks for your time this evening, and we'll chat to you again soon on Treaty Talk.
Thanks
very much, Barry.
Thanks, Matt. Mind yourself. Thanks.
Okay, there's Barry Hennessy joining us, and Matt. Yeah, we were touching on him with him there. I didn't even get to it. The Fitzgibbon Cup is probably where we should go to next. Obviously, look, the Limerick game 7:30 p.m. just before we go to the Fitzgibbon. A lot of ups and downs. Was it on TV? Is it this? Is it that? And eventually a decision was made. It's going to be streamed on TG Cahir YouTube. Bit of an own goal as usual by the people who pick these things. Not to put probably the two of the best 3 or 4 hurling teams in the country, to give them that exposure on national television. And eventually, after all the singing and dancing, we're going to end up with a YouTube stream of the game instead.
Tom, I despair with these people, and I'm talking about despair with the carry on between whatever is going on between the GA and
broadcasters, I suppose,
and RT. I've given up on it, and I'm not going to do my head in any more about it, because it's shenanigans, and to think that there was a game on between one game on RT and one game on TG4, and no disrespect to the other 30 counties, but Cork and Limerick in the National Hurling League, after what they produced last year, and after selling 30,000 tickets for it, that they couldn't see their way to have it as their prime game. Tom, look, there's no point in asking me about it. I'm not going to do my head in about it, and I despair. I absolutely despair at the decision of our government taken last year to bail out RTE to the tune over 3 years of $750 million of our money.
Okay, right. Look, we'll move on. What I will say is it was TG Cahir who decided to pick football first, knowing that they had 2 football games on Sunday. RT then looked to move it, and Cork GA couldn't agree, blah, blah, blah. It was all decided. Thankfully, in the end, there is a way of watching it. Of course, our friends in Live 95 will be also broadcasting the game for anyone that's not able to make it on Lee side, which includes myself this weekend. So there will be ways and means to keep in touch with it. And look, hopefully in the coming weeks, there will be avenues to watch some of the best hurling counties, and that includes Limerick, of course, on TV for many who just can't make it to games or are further afield. Okay.
From a Cork point of view, they'll wonder what have the channels got against them, because they got nothing out of GA Go last year.
Yeah, well, look, I think we'll leave it there on this case. We'll see. It's going to rear its head, I'm sure, again as the season goes on.
We won't. Rearing its head is only doing our heads in,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Fitzgibbon Cup, we mentioned at the start, Matt. University of Limerick are already through before they face Mary on Wednesday afternoon. But the winner of this one was heading straight for the semi-finals, and that was, of course, UL. 23 points to 15 winners, I think, was the score. Yeah, it was close enough there anyway. 23-15. Number of Limerick men withdrawn. Colin Coughlin's actually injured. He broke his finger against Waterford, so he he sat this one out. Adam English was rested, Paddy O'Donovan was rested, Aidan O'Connor probably, and on the weekend, Conor Henny-Clark did feature, Evan O'Leary did feature for UL. Conor Henny-Clark coming on, Evan O'Leary starting. So they were the Limerick men on that side, and Shane O'Brien was also rested for Mary I. But we
I
had the likes
suppose it gives us a hint in a way as to that they would probably be involved.
Yeah,
Excuse
that's
me,
it.
Tom.
They're
they
going
would
to be
probably
prominent at the
involved
weekend.
on
Yeah,
Saturday night.
yeah. I think that's very, very likely. Yeah, and just looking at the Mary I team, yeah, Shane O'Brien missed out. And we would just still have Patrick Finn, I should say, was playing. He's played the first half, and then you would have had, I'm trying to think who else after that made Cian Scully, William Dorr, and Jimmy Quilty all featured as well.
Jimmy Quilty all played.
Yeah,
And
they're into a quarter. Oisin O'Farrell, I was on the score sheet as well, with I think 4 points, but they're on the or 5, is it? But they're on the way to a quarter final, so they won't know the pairing until after Thursday evening's game, tonight's game. So look, we can't speculate at this point, but UL looking strong in the competition, Matt. I think it's fair to say.
Looking very, very strong, Tom, and I'll tell you to take somebody very brave to bet against them. But you know, the job Jamie Wall is doing with Mary I is simply phenomenal. You know, and there's no doubt if they're to meet again. I don't think they can meet before the final now.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're not sure.
I'm not even sure how the draw will take place for the quarterfinals.
Well, I know that Mary I will face a team from Group 3, whether it's the winner or runner-up.
Mary I and MTU are going to be in one pot, and the other two teams would say whoever come out. Dorcas Erin are one of them anyway.
Dorcas Erin plus one of Maynooth or
and TUS
Midwest. Yeah, which is LIT for those just about under. And yeah, so look, we'll see what the way the pairings go. There's a good chance we could have 2 Limerick teams in the semi-final, even possibly 3 at this point. But the TUS have work to do, having drawn their first game in the group of 3, so they have to go out tonight. Get the victory or a draw to ensure passage to the last 6. Yeah, so no, it's good. It's good times for colleges hurling in Limerick, or third level.
Eddie Stokes, you were there, Tom. You were commentating on it.
Yeah,
and congratulations on a fine job, by the way.
But Eddie Stokes prominent Eddie for Stokes, UCC, I thought had a
very, very effective game for college last night.
Yeah, in a field filled with Corkmen, the Limerick man was certainly prominent in his played at centre forward, and you know, really, I think I said it to you before we started this podcast. You know, unselfish player, good team player, good worker, and it's no stranger to us. We've seen it with the club, so many times. He's not
phenomenal
a flashy
work rate, and no way selfish whatsoever, bringing others into play, and very effectively. Like, he set up a number of points for college last night.
Yeah, and I think he took one of his own late on, as well as they just had enough for MTU. Yeah, so that's the third level hurling. You mentioned to me schools, Matt. Where were we with schools when we last picked this up? I know obviously the Harty Cup had lost its Limerick interests, but down the grades.
Skull Pole are involved in a Munster semi-final tomorrow, in an all Limerick Munster semi-final football.
Right. Okay. Football.
CMD football. Skull Pole and Coloston and Troker or Rathkeil are meeting in the football semi-final tomorrow.
Very good. Yeah. That's at least we know there'll be a Limerick team in the final. I still couldn't find the Munster Schools website. There's so many games on it. Did we ever catch up to Salesian College Pallaskenries hurling game? Did they ever make?
No. There's so many games on. It's virtually impossible. But I try scrolling into the individual competitions.
Oh yeah, challenging, I think is the word.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I don't have that hand. I'll see, can I get it actually by the end?
Well, not near as challenging as the universities were at the outset of the competition.
Oh yeah, well
they have it streamlined now. We know what's happening.
Yeah. So no, that's it. I think that's it for hurling this week, Matt. Obviously, great to chat with Barry there on it. So
Barry, very knowledgeable, and Barry has the medals to show for it, Tom. 4 All-Ireland medals. What is it? 4 Munster medals, 4 county senior medals. I'd say more underage medals than he can count with Kilmallock. So, Barry,
He's seen
let's
it
say
all.
Barry knows a thing or two about the game, Tom.
Yeah, that's fair to say. Okay, just moving on. I think we'll head towards football next, and I suppose while we're on the college kind of school straight, just to mention, you well bowed out of the Sigerson Cup in TU Dublin and Grange
I
Gorman
saw the
on
game,
Tuesday
Tom.
evening. Yeah,
I suppose it would be hard enough to argue with the result.
yeah. No, they were second best. I think that's very agreeable.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
I'm not agreeable with the narrative that they were second best throughout.
No, they probably played well.
They certainly had patches, and I see
Started well, actually. Yeah,
reading that the TU Dublin dominated throughout. That's a misrepresentation of what happened. I thought anyway. I thought they could have even won it.
Yeah, could have. No, they were thereabouts. Just but they could. It looked to me from watching the stream, it looked like they considered their scores just that fraction too easy, and that was the killer.
Yeah.
They
left Sean Jones in for a very simple goal.
Yeah,
and then the penalty taken. When you add all those things in, like I don't know how he got through because he got past 3 or 4 defenders.
Yeah, Matt. Sorry, I have the fixture for Salesian College, secondary college in Pallaskenry. And given I went there now, I wouldn't be welcome back if I didn't have it. They're in the under-19 C hurling semi-final against St Mary's of Newport. This is taking place. It actually took place today. I'm waiting for the results, so I'll bring it out in a minute. I didn't realise it was today. Yeah, but see, we're struggling to keep up with the fixtures and the results.
While I'm talking to you, Tom, I'll seek the result to see if it has come in.
I don't believe it has, but it's staying on the football trail, Matt. We'll look at intercounty. I'll get the result there, Matt. As we sift through this, but moving to intercounty football, Matt, and the Limerick senior footballers played their opening league game last weekend. And it took a late 2-point free, Matt, to deny Limerick the result. They did, of course, pick up a point, but obviously they were looking for something a bit better than that and to end their hiatus of their long-running search for a league win. So Longford pegged Limerick back at the end, but by all accounts, I wasn't at the game, but by all accounts, Limerick did turn in a very good performance and probably, certainly didn't deserve to be beaten, but maybe thought they'd done enough to win it.
An excellent performance, Tom, considering there were 7 points down at one stage, and then adapted and went, I think they went 3 ahead at one stage, or definitely went 2, and they were 2 ahead right at the death. When this chap, Carty, I think was his name, from Longford, he got this free outside the arc and landed it for a 2-pointer to deny him a win, which they would have badly needed. But having said that, like if you look at the Limerick fixtures, if you take them in that totality at the start of the year, you would mark Longford down as being a tricky one, Tom.
You would,
and you would be saying to yourself, Longford, we'll be lucky to get something there, and definitely Longford will be contenders for promotion. So I think the point on the road there was a good result, and you had a lot of new players that players that were on the fringes and they're starting and all that sort of thing. So like Jimmy Lee in his interview afterwards, he expressed mixed feelings. Happy, I suppose, to end that because you must remember that the last 7 games in the league, the last 9 games in the league, Limerick have lost them all.
Yeah.
Limerick haven't got a point in the league since the 5th round of the championship of the league in Division 2 in 2022.
Sorry, 23, wasn't it?
2023.
Yeah, when they were in Division 2, relegated and straight 7 defeats from 7 last year.
In Division 2, they got a draw with Meath. Or in Division 2, they got a draw with Meath. And like in the last 2 years, Limerick have only got a single point.
Yeah, I know.
Between Division 2 and Division 3. Yeah. So look, it is a rest. They have arrested that sequence, thank goodness, and they will look to build on it on Sunday when Wexford visit Mick Neville Park. Now, Sunday in Mick Neville Park is a double header, Tom. We have the men's football at 2:00 and we have the ladies' football at 4. And Wexford now had a very, very big win over London in the first round. But how much do you read into that? London traditionally struggle in the league because there's such a turnover of players in London. You know,
they've no avenue for
year to year. Yeah. You know, players are returning over and they're going back over and all this sort of a thing. So we won't really know until we see Wexford come out in Mick Neville Park on Sunday.
Yeah, just Matt, before we look at that, just to mention with the Longford Limerick game, just to look, but Limerick were 2-2 to a point down in this one, and they showed decent resolve to fight back. Limerick were one of a few counties at the weekend. I don't think there was too many that didn't actually score a 2-pointer. Limerick managed 16 scores, won 15, and there was only 12 scores for Longford. But obviously, one of those extra, they got an extra goal, obviously Longford, and two 2-pointers. So the new rules already showing what can be done from Longford's point of view. Obviously, Limerick were the suffering on this occasion, but you know, something to watch as the league goes on in terms of how those scores can transform the game. It was Matthew Carey who took that 2-pointer free late in the game. You know, you know, in I suppose in years gone by, he'd have had to put that in around the house because the clock was gone, and you know, they'd have had to try and win the game with it by getting a goal. But he now had the avenue of, you know, from 42 or 3 meters. Going level in the game. So the dynamic has changed a slight bit in terms of how these games are going to be played out.
Yeah. Well, like, you know, it was a big challenge going to Longford in the first place.
Yeah.
And to find yourself 2-2 to 1 point down early on, you know, that made it a mountain to climb. But fair play to Limerick. And they will have taken, first of all, they'll have taken so much confidence out of the performance. That's number one. And they will have learned so much from the game. That you know, I think they'll be in a good place on Sunday. You know, and it was good to see Ian Corbett come back and have some game time. He didn't start, and he got on the score sheet, which you'd always expect with Ian Corbett anyway. But I'm very hopeful for Sunday, Tom. I'm going down to see it. Maybe you're going yourself, are you?
I am. Yeah, I know I'll be there. Yeah, it's no, it should be good. It should be good to see. And like Limerick are probably at the level at the moment where they're at, so they should be competitive. They should be very close to a result, and hopefully, I guess they can get the win. And it could, you know, it's only round 2, but it is a very important game in terms of the narrative of the group, because, you know, pick up 2 points here. And
it's important to Graham in so far as that come Sunday evening, Limerick will have either 1, 2 or 3 points.
Yeah,
you know, and in an ideal world, you'd want 3 points at this stage of the competition, because there are a couple of other tricky fixtures to go. You have to go to Carlow, you have to go to Wicklow, you know.
Yeah, and we've our neighbours Tipperary to come as well. So like it's there's other game.
This game is away to London, you know. So like you know, when you look at the permutations in terms of points to win promotion, you need a minimum of 13 points.
Has that been the case in this division for so long? It's nearly always
more or less.
12 or 13 most years to get into that top 2. Yeah, so excuse me. Okay, so that's the senior footballers. So Wexford, 2 p.m. start in Mick Neville Park on Sunday, and at 4 p.m, Matt, the ladies footballers, they're looking to bounce back. Obviously, they got their campaign underway in Mungret last Sunday afternoon, and they were just on the wrong side of the result there. Very difficult conditions, I believe, in Mungret, and it was Down who came away with the 3 points, as is the case in ladies football.
It was it in many ways, you know, I find it hard to sum it up. Was it one that got away? If it got away possibly in the first half. Like, we played some fantastic football in the first half. Limerick did, you know, and led at halftime by 1-3 to 3 points. Now, right. That's what I can reconcile myself. Was 1-3 to 3 points a fair reflection of the first half? I would say no. I said Limerick could be further ahead, but it was the 18 minutes after half time. It was phenomenal, Tom. That Down kicked 10 points without reply. Like, they came out like women possessed, you know. And like I don't know, but I think if they kicked it towards their own goal to go over our bar, because
Right. Yeah.
I was saying to myself, oh gosh, I just couldn't believe what was unfolding. But then in the last 10 minutes, we dominated it.
Yeah.
We dominated it. Demi Murphy got a point. That was our first point of the second half, by which stage we were 7 points behind. And shortly afterwards, a mistake in the down defence, and who better to capitalise than Roisin Ambrose, buried the ball in the net. We got a couple of points then from Debbie Murphy, and suddenly it was down to 1 point. And
right.
we're going into 5 minutes of injury time. Really, really game on. But we just couldn't get that equaliser. We bombarded the goal. We just couldn't get it. And Wexford broke because everybody from Limerick was pushed forward, and they broke, and they just had enough of players to get a clinching point right at the death. But it's our first game back in Division 3 since 2017, and it was disappointing. Now down, Tom, they would be very, very strongly fancied for promotion to Division 2. They just missed out on it by a point last year when they were they won 5 of their 7 games and just missed out on promotion. So Down were a very, very good side. And it is possible that we may have put the best team in the competition behind us.
Well, hopefully, hopefully.
Now, Wexford had a huge win over Offaly in the first round. Which might suggest that Wexford are a very, very good side. But, how strong were Offaly? We don't know. We don't know. Well, we'll learn soon enough because we're playing him in the third round in Edenderry.
Okay, yeah. So,
look, I'm hopeful for Sunday, Tom.
Yeah, green shoots anyway from this game, despite the result. I think it's fair to say, and there's a chance for, there's realistic chance that Limerick can pick up points this weekend.
There is a realistic chance that they can pick up something this weekend because, I think Mike and Sean are readers enough to know, that, first of all, we have to look at consolidation.
Yeah.
Before we start dreaming big, and I think consolidation, and let's hope. Now, Catty Mee didn't play last Sunday.
Okay,
Catty had a very bad flu, and she told me after the game she'd be hoped that she'd be fit for this week, but she was really under the weather last week, so that'd be a big boost to Limerick to have her back. Now with a couple of newcomers like Bexley Lee was back, which was fantastic after 5 years, and it was as if she never gone away because she got the first half goal.
Right, yeah, picking up where she left off.
Oh yeah, picking up where she left off, and there was debuts for Lucy O'Brien at centre back who impressed me hugely. She's from Fiona Castlemahan, and also Orla Ryan at midfield from St. Ailbe's, who I thought had very, 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 very promising debuts. Overall, first half, Tom, they played a level of football that was well above, I thought, the best that they played in Division 4.
Okay. Well,
it was
good.
Very, very promising. And they did the same in the last 10 minutes, but it was that 18 minutes after half-time that defined the outcome, unfortunately, from a Limerick perspective.
Yeah, so I suppose it's a case of hopefully the confidence is still high ahead of this meeting with Wexford, and it is good as well. We didn't. I know we kind of mentioned it's a doubleheader, but it's good that there's a bit of joint up thinking here. I know Mungret, I'm sure we're happy to host again, but
and then full credit to Mungret. They really pushed out the boat in doing it, Tom. Absolutely, full credit to them. And the members of the club, including the chairman, Fintan Hines, everybody was there in force, to ensure that everything ran smack smooth. Now, I understood from Mike Quilligan, whether you misunderstood it or not, but I thought you asked the question of Mike Quilligan, was Mungret going to be the venue for the home games?
Yes. Yeah.
And I thought he said yes.
I thought he did too, yeah. But look, something has changed in the background, and look, I don't think there's any harm in it.
I heard on Sunday evening in Mungret that it was going to be a double header this week.
Okay, right. So you heard the early murmurings of it.
That was not confirmed until Wednesday evening.
Right. Okay.
And the LGFA normally, and like it wasn't confirmed, and I don't know what the breakdown is, but whether it was Limerick GA giving it the green light or not.
Yeah.
I'm
not sure.
But we know already. I know since early this week that when Limerick travelled to Offaly in the third round, the game is on Derry.
Yeah, you mentioned it already, actually. Yeah. So that's the thing. That's the piece that often is missed at this time of year. And look, I know weather is playing on pitches. Maybe that was why there was a bit of hesitation. But
playing havoc with everything, really.
Yeah, but when you know a game is on and it's on here or there or wherever it is, then there's certainty and people can plan. But yeah, getting to Wednesday wasn't ideal. But look, it's a step forward to see a doubleheader. It's been a long time since we saw a football doubleheader. I can't even think of one to hand now, to be honest with you. You might clarify if there was one, but it's no harm at all. Obviously, the same two counties in both.
I can't think of it, Tom. I can't think of it. And but to me, you know how I feel about integration.
Yeah, well, this is a step
me,
towards it, isn't it?
It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so 4 p.m. The ladies are throwing in. The men are the curtain raiser in this case. 2 p.m. Limerick and Wexford. 4 p.m. Limerick and Wexford. So you get your bang for your buck if you're heading out to McNeville Park on Sunday afternoon. That's for sure. Okay, Matt. What else have we? Have we anything else to discuss?
I just on Saturday evening, even at 2:00, we have the second semi-final of the Munster Junior B hurling competition in Killeedy.
Right.
When Kildimo Palestinian will be taking their bow on it, and they're playing Tulla in this semi-final.
So Limerick and Clare.
Limerick and Clare. Last week, Buttevant, who beat Bismore before Christmas, they went out to Kappa White. Excuse me, Tom, I'm a touch of a flu. But the second semi-final involving Kildimo Palestinian playing Tulla is on at 2:00 on this Saturday, and I'd be hopeful. Now, you saw more of Kildimo than I did, Tom.
Well, I saw him once.
That's more than I saw. But you saw tonight, they beat a fancy Barry Brown side, and I'm not pandering to you when I say a fancy Barry Brown side.
No, that was the narrative. Yeah, certainly. Yeah. So
to me, that gives them credentials.
Yeah.
But on the converse side of it, like Clare hurling isn't such a high at the moment.
Yeah. The worry for Kildimo Palestinian is that game was it on the 2nd of November? So
it's a long time. But of course, Tulla have the same problem, Tom.
Yeah, you just wonder, have they been able to get a game somewhere? I don't know who you'd manage to get to play this year, whether it is some colleges team or a school team or a mix of your own. I don't know. You need to get some bit of a run out to get the old dirty diesel out of the engine after Christmas.
Absolutely.
But that's the concern. You just don't know how they're coming into this one, hot or cold. But look, is the final set for the following week, or when do we have a date for the
following week?
Okay, all right, very good. Yeah, so that's the Saturday the 1st, and then Saturday or Sunday the 9th.
As you know, as we're on Junior B competition, the St. Kieran's Rowan Moore game was postponed because of the weather. And it's now refixed for Sunday week at 2:00 in Paddy Carroll Park.
Right, so Kieran's...
That's a quarter-final now, Tom.
Yeah, the weather really the weather playing havoc with this competition time and again, but in fairness, Paddy Carroll Park should be up to it by then, hopefully, if the storms will stay away and the snow will leave us alone as well. So, okay, that's it for the Junior B. Anything else, Matt, on your agenda there for this week? I think we've covered plenty there.
I think that's it, Tom.
Yeah. Just to mention that St. Mary's and Newport did win that game. I found the results, didn't find the scoreline. I found the result. Mary's and Newport got the better of Indian C competition. Might have just lost it there for a second, Matt, but unfortunately ended the road for for them. So St. Mary's of Newport heading to a Munster final, and Salesian College Balliskenry missing out. Okay, Matt, thank you very much for your time on this week's podcast. Thanks to Barry, of course, earlier in the piece. Thanks to you folks for listening, and do get in touch with your thoughts ahead of the weekend on whichever game or whichever games you fancy, and indeed let us know what you think of Limerick's hopes for the year ahead in hurling as they get their league campaign underway on the side against Cork.